From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
American Door Company has been family-owned and operated for over 29 years, supplying Northern California with quality garage doors, garage door openers, and installed with the best service you'd expect from a locally owned company. We serve all of Northern California from Willows all the way to the Oregon state line. Give us a call today.
Well, as you may or may not know, I've got a free Weather NorCal app, but I also have the ability for you to watch what you're watching right now on your big screen. If you have a smart TV with YouTube, you can always just search for Weather NorCal on YouTube. You can subscribe to the channel. You can watch any of the latest updates. You can also watch the 24-hour streaming channel. You can also watch the 24-hour streaming channel on your TV if you have a Roku or an Amazon Fire Stick. Just search for Weather NorCal. Press play and you're good to go. All right, so we've got gusty winds at times with elevated fire danger with highs slightly above normal for this time of the year after today. We're going to see temperatures start to drop a bit. We'll be a degree or two above normal for this time of the year, but shouldn't be too terribly hot out there for the rest of the week. I'm also expecting to see it get warmer for Memorial Day with the possibility for some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms, but mainly in the Sierra. We look at your neighborhood forecast for tomorrow, and again, a little bit cooler than it was today. Temperatures in the mid-80s for the valley, 60s and 70s for the higher elevations, and upper 50s out along the coast. All right, the winds. This is something we're going to have to continue to monitor now that we're getting into the fire season, right? The winds, not that big of a deal tomorrow morning, even along the coast. But we go into tomorrow afternoon, and you'll notice the wind gusts are upwards of 20 to even approaching the 30 mile per hour range. That's also the case off of the eastern mountains and still some gusty winds out along the coast as well. Now we take you into your Thursday morning. The winds are still fairly strong for Thursday morning, especially for the valley. But as we go into Thursday afternoon, it looks like the winds begin to die down a bit. Much like that at the temperatures, we're seeing those winds kind of go up and down as well. So we look at the humidity. All right, so the humidity is a good recovery. We call it recovery because it's typically dry during the day. But at night and in the early morning hours, we typically see the humidity levels begin to increase. When we don't see that increase in the humidity overnight and early morning, that means it's excessively dry out there and typically very gusty winds as well. So we at least have that. But you'll notice tomorrow afternoon, we are seeing those humidity levels down to about 10% and even locally lower. Now we take you into Thursday morning. Notice the humidity levels are not getting into the 40 to 50% range. They're actually a little bit lower, but still some recovery there. And then it does look like another dry day and dry afternoon for your Thursday as well. So we take a look at several different factors. Temperature, winds, and not to mention the humidity, and we get a fire weather risk. And then we have this gauge here. Greens are low, you start getting the oranges and reds, you start getting into the high category. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got going on as we go into your Wednesday. And you'll notice, again, those winds are going to be gusting again tomorrow afternoon. There you can see we're getting in that moderate, and there are some areas that are just getting within that orange range. So we're kind of in the high moderate range here for tomorrow, a little bit higher than what we saw today with that fire risk. Then we go into your Thursday, starting off with the gusty winds, but then by the afternoon, those winds die down. That is going to lower our fire weather risk to kind of in that low to just in that low end of that moderate range here. So again, we're seeing the winds go up and down, which means our fire weather risk is also going to go up and down. Now, a quick reminder, as we start going into the fire season, we take a look at the different criteria for a red flag warning. As we all know, when there's a red flag warning, that's when we're on high alert, right? So we look at, first of all, the winds. If they're 25 miles per hour or higher, then that's one of the categories. Temperatures, if they start getting warmer. Typically, when we get in the 90-degree range and higher, that's when we've got to start being the most concerned around here. If the humidity is down to 20% or lower, if you've got dry fuels out there, and if you have the possibility of dry lightning. Now, you don't have to have all of these in order for this to occur. It's any combination of these conditions. And really, it depends, right? If you've got strong winds in very dry fuels, then you're going to have the high fire danger. But the temperatures can also play a factor, the humidity, and of course, if we've got the dry lightning strikes in the forecast as well. The good news is we don't have the dry lightning strikes in the forecast anytime soon. And just a quick reminder, you know what you need to do to prevent these wildfires from starting. So these are just a couple of things to just give you a quick reminder when we start talking about our fire danger and that elevated risk. All right, let's kind of get off that fire danger. We're going to talk about these storm systems as they come from the northwest and move down to the south and east. Now, this is important to take note because this is the reason why our winds are picking up and will probably be off and on windy here through Saturday. As you can see, this next what we call inside slider will move down to the south and east, giving us the windy conditions. So that's one of the factors that we're seeing with these systems as they move to our north and east. The other factor is it's keeping our temperatures at bay. So we're going to keep our temperatures right around or just slightly above normal here. But by Saturday, this cooler air is going to be farther to the south than any other of the storm systems. So it could mean a couple of things. Number one, significantly cooler temperatures by Saturday. But number two, as we'll see on Futurecast, there may be the potential for a few showers for places like Modoc County, which we'll get into that here in a bit. Now, as that moves out, we lose that trend of these inside sliders, and we see the next storm system dig more and more to the south, which will then amplify that ridge of high pressure. That ridge of high pressure will be to our east, though. So yes, it will be warmer, but we aren't going to be looking at excessive heat, probably somewhere in the upper 80s for those daytime highs going into Memorial Day and, of course, the day after Memorial Day, next Tuesday. So let's take a look at Futurecast, and we're not really talking about much in the way of rain at this point. You can see here tomorrow morning some clouds coming into the north. Looks like some low clouds and maybe some fog along the coast. Some of that fog will burn off, but it'll have a harder time for parts of Humboldt County. Some afternoon clouds for the higher elevations, but still looking at mainly dry conditions. Taking you into your Thursday. Now, what we're seeing here Thursday morning, once again, some of that fog, especially for central Humboldt County, some of those inland valleys. Then we take you into Thursday afternoon. That fog tries to dissipate, but still kind of sticking around for parts of Eureka. Meanwhile, the Sierra on Thursday is looking at the potential for a few scattered showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. Long range. Let's take you into Saturday. Remember I was talking about that storm system that's going to bring us the winds on Saturday. The cooler temperatures, but it will be farther to the south, which could bring maybe a chance for a few scattered showers for Modoc County Saturday afternoon. It's dry on Sunday, it's dry for Memorial Day, and not to mention Tuesday of next week. So not much in the way of rain heading our way anytime soon. All right, we take a look at our wave heights, and it looks like they're not going to change much here as we go into Wednesday afternoon. They may increase a little bit at times. Much like the temperatures and the winds, these wave heights are going to be going up and down as well. All right, so let's take a look at your marine forecast for Wednesday. North winds at 15 to 20 knots. There still is that small corrected advisory, at least through this evening. We'll see if that gets extended into tomorrow as well. But there you can see temperatures are going to be the upper 50s to around 60 for those overnight lows in the valley. We're mainly in the 40s for the higher elevations. But much like the last few mornings, some of us could possibly get close to that freezing point, especially in parts of the higher elevations of the eastern mountains. Your Trinity County neighborhood forecast temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 70s, although some of those cooler spots in the 60s. For central and southern Humboldt County, along the coast, you're talking about temperatures upper 50s, but low 70s for many of the inland areas. We take you up north, out towards Del Norte County, northern Humboldt County. Temperatures, once again, mainly in the upper 50s for the immediate coast, although you can see places like Smith River about 65. 71 degrees for Hoopa, and there's Orleans with a high of about 68 degrees. Here's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, and it looks like we have temperatures mainly in the upper 60s, even some low 70s. Cooler spots will be off to the east, with temperatures there in the upper 50s. Looks like temperatures for Modoc County are going to be in the 60s, about 64 degrees for Canby, as well as Alturas and Tule Lake, about 59 degrees. And your eastern mountains neighborhood forecast, mainly in the 70s, but some of the cooler spots like Viola at about 65 degrees. Warmer, though, in Paradise with a high of about 78 degrees. And your valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor. These temperatures should steer clear of those 90-degree marks, but we are still looking at temperatures probably somewhere in the mid to upper 80s. 85 degrees for Redding, 85 for Anderson, 85 in Palisadro, and Lakehead, a high of about 83 degrees. So let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding. Temperatures in the mid 80s for your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Temperatures dropping significantly by the time we get into your Saturday, right? Then on Sunday, we see that increase Memorial Day into Tuesday of next week with highs back into the upper 80s.